First things first, I would just like to make mention for anybody that's returning from yesterday's video. I thank you all very much. I didn't anticipate that video to do so well, and I also didn't anticipate the little treasure trove and a perfect follow-up, but that's besides the point. Thank you very much for the engagement. Thank you very much for all the comments that are in the section, the overwhelming support that video has received. I didn't anticipate it at all, okay? I have videos that have more views on the channel, but nowhere near the engagement. It's definitely a topic that you guys very much appreciate, and I am more than happy to pick apart because I think that there's a lot of good things that we can analyze from the situation. Mostly, it's grifters co-opting a very laudable topic, and then another subset of that grift, hopping on top knowing that it's a very profitable proposition. So as long as these people are going to continue to do idiotic things, I'm going to continue to dissect it, because I, for one, am very much against human trafficking, sex trafficking, all of that stuff. I think that it's terrible, and that is probably a stance that most reasonable people can also take. It's just in order to advocate for that position, you don't need to fabricate your entire backstory and then try to silence any dissension and then glom on to one of the most disingenuous figures in the sphere in order to run PR for you, which we'll get to that very shortly. And it's perfectly summarized by what Blaire White has encapsulated here with this one line. It's perfect. It really is. Eliza Bleu is the Jussie Smollett of the right. Very much so, man. She decided to wrap herself in all of those tradcon Americana talking points. She took the God pill. She took the patriotism pill. She took the libertarian pill. She's saying all the right things in all the right places. And she thought that would buy her enough time to run her grift. Ooh, sorry about that. I almost think, just hear me out here for a second. I almost think that Eliza Bleu is worse than Jussie, because at least Jussie filed a police report. At least he alleged a crime, and then he ended up facing retribution for it, which, funnily enough, kind of ties together a little bit more than even Blaire probably thought about, okay? Because one of Jussie's lawyers is now representing Andrew Tate on the international affairs, the Tina lady who just joined the case. She was one of the lawyers that was on there, which is actually a good point for Tate, because, yeah, Jussie got convicted on 5 of the 6 charges, so she did her job in some form or fashion by making sure that one of those charges didn't stick, and ended up laying out a pretty compelling case, allegedly, even though the trial wasn't televised or anything like that. But then also, how long was Jussie in prison for? Because he was supposed to be there for a minute, but then he immediately got the appeal and he was only there for a couple of days. So Jussie did try to stoke a hate crime, okay? His charges are reprehensible and hilarious in and of himself. Eliza tried to leverage public opinion. She tried to use the same old Me Too, believe all women, time's up tactic in order to paint the opposition in a terrible light. Anybody that she deemed to be opposition in a terrible light, by leveraging her connections on the right, her very extensive network of connections, because there's no other way to explain why she's getting such favorable treatment right now. And what's the worst thing that ends up happening? Her opposition is going to continue to expose all of her wrongdoing in the past and just point out the inconsistencies in her overall inconsistent story. And at the end of the day, she has Timmy Boy running cover for her, even if she does fess up to, yeah, there were some things that were wrong in my past, but I'm still doing good work, guys. She can go back for a second, rebrand, and then just come back under a different moniker. Eliza Red, White, and Blue. Who even knows anymore, man? But what has Eliza been up to? Eliza Smollett. Why don't we just go with that? Well, she's once again proclaiming how good of what kind of work that she does, guys. I do important work, you know. So this right here is to clarify. A couple of videos ago, we talked about one podcast appearance. You can kind of see it right there, Liberty Lockdown. You might remember that one. It made the thumbnail of that video that was out there. That was the one where she engaged in the thought experiment a la Jack Murphy about age of consent. It's one of those things, unless you're talking in a historical context and how things were completely different back then, why you engage with those types of hypotheticals, you know that can only end poorly for you. And she took it to the utmost extreme where it's like, oh, 12-year-olds might be mature enough. Where do you come off with that? But like at least Jack, and holy crap, I'm going to be sticking up for Jack Murphy for a second. Oh my God. I've never done anything nefarious with a dildo before, okay? And 69 for 69, that's his gimmick. But at least he was saying that 16-year-olds, that was his stance on that stuff, which is reprehensible. It doesn't matter. Age of consent, where I'm at, 18 years old. That's where it is. No questions asked. Don't be trying to push it back. Don't be trying to do anything like that. Your average standard 18-year-old is legal age. That's it. Done and dusted. If you can't wait until then, you deserve the chair. That's a moral observation. That's a legal conclusion. In this case, facts don't care about your feelings, but now she needs to explain some of her wrongdoing, and she thinks by taking responsibility here, which is actually just, spreading the blame, as it were, is going to make her more relatable. Bruh, you've already dug your hole 6 feet deep and you're just begging people to shovel dirt on you. Well, if you're gonna invite us, hey, I'm not one to turn down an offer. I went on a show to advocate for survivors and minors. I was speaking in the clip about a hypothetical anarchist society with no government and no laws, and stated that clearly. I believe in the current laws and these issues and abide by their current laws. But you also referred to it as a utopia. So, yeah. In my utopia, children is like, yo, whoa, what the... But anyways, yeah, if you just want to rewrite that, and it's not like anybody has access to the podcast and can hear it for themselves. But okay, I was clear about all of that. Were you, though? The full podcast is available to watch. Please do. And this is one of those guilty tactics where it's, oh my God, everything's available. If you just want to go watch it, you can clear it up for yourself after you get all of this, all of my framing up there front and center. And if you don't believe me, well, you're just clearly too stupid to understand what I was talking about. The clip above is available to watch. I understand that it might be difficult for folks to see. I'm smart, you're stupid. That's what she's trying to tell you here. To try to understand a conversation about a hypothetical world with no government and how to tackle egregious crimes. Now, idiots that don't understand hypothetical and analogies are the same people that would get upset by saying that you're comparing women to dogs. Not people that are questioning you for saying 12, huh? That's very interesting for somebody who paints himself as a survivor advocate. Or were you not wearing that hat at that point in time? These conversations about possible solutions to human trafficking. Oh, by just making everything legal? Is that what you're talking about? Weird. Under anarchism are normal for me. Oh, of course. See, I'm just so enlightened with all of these deep, meaningful conversations that I have with really important people. I understand that you wouldn't get it. Oh, I'm sorry. I also talk about solutions under the current system in the U.S. and in multiple societies, depending on their laws and government structure, even North Korea, where you get really drunk and opine about how bad it could get in North Korea. You have to eat your kids and your hair even. Whatever. I forgive folks who don't understand. I forgive the plebs that are out there that can't be so enlightened as I do. A lot of responsibility being taken here. I'm sorry you're stupid. Okay? For the context of the clip, even those who called me horrible names. Nah, I got a few in the chamber. If you just want to be this indignant, we could whip them out later. Oh, we have nothing else to discuss, so please don't message me privately. If anybody... I haven't seen her post any receipts on any of this stuff. This is the old, oh, help me, I'm receiving death threats. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Just point them out so that I can discourage any of that stuff. No, sorry. I'm just waiting for that grift to show up. Oh, I just keep getting death threats. Because all of this stuff, it all follows the same trajectory. The hardware might be different, but the software is exactly the same. I forgive you. Oh, but we have nothing more to discuss. I've seen your heart towards me. Wow. I really hope he sees this. But peek this for a second. I was speaking in the clip about hypothetical anarchist society with no government, no laws, and stated that clearly. It's just funny that you have like an old tweet or something. Watch out for anyone who uses the word child and consent in the same sentence. Oh, it's almost like that's what she was talking about in that previous. Anyways, unless the sentence includes the words cannot in it. Yeah. So you're debunking yourself in your own words. Very strange. Very, very, very strange, don't you think? But that's alright. She's probably talking about many other important things, okay? About all of the good work that she's doing. Like posting another op-ed about how black women and girls are at the highest risk for sex trafficking. An op-ed to Essence magazine. I don't know. Happy Black History Month, I guess. Trying to hop on to a different grift because we know her connections to the black community are fairly extensive, especially during 2014 through 2016. Haven't really explored that much outside of a couple of podcast appearances with a couple of black hosts. But then that leads us specifically, and more importantly, to some of her claims that she was making yesterday and a couple of previous days were all of the good work that she does. It's funny. First of all, you're taking credit for other people's hard work, but we understand that's what you do. You don't really contribute anything to society except for a pockmarked ass every once in a while and some goofy titties on a hidden platform. But hey man, whatever. To each their own, I suppose. But if you're going to be taking credit for work that's already been done, make sure that work has actually been done. Twitter struggles to remove child porn despite Elon Musk's promise to clean it up. Oh no! According to the recent New York Times investigation, it's the New York Times, though. Despite Elon Musk's promise to remove child porn from Twitter, calling it priority number one, the company has actually fired staff dealing with the issue, stopped paying for important abuse material detection software. Ooh, that's actually a little bit more important because they had a bloat when it comes to staff anyway, so that's fine. And the platform still hosts countless images and videos of child abuse material, with its algorithm even suggesting it to users. It's weird because I've noticed, and a couple of people that watched the video yesterday also, started following me on Twitter, which is totally weird, but thank you for doing that. You're just going to be in for a bunch of different spicy shit posts that I like to reply or just retweet and stuff like that. So if you're down for that, hey man, thanks for showing up. Hopefully we can talk soon. But I've been getting those stupid little recommendations for you can follow these different topics. Like, why are those popping up all of a sudden? Why don't you just, make the site more functional, make it more relevant instead of just recommending me to peek what Joe Biden's intern is writing on his official account. I don't care about any of that stuff. A recent report from the New York Times states that Twitter has been battling child sexual abuse content since Elon Musk stated that in a tweet in November of 2022 that removing child exploitation is priority number one. Twitter's head of safety and close personal friend of Eliza Bleu, Ella Irwin, claims that she is quickly resolving the problem. Is she, though? Which was widespread on the platform under its previous owners. Child sexual abuse material, CSAM? Sure. Still present on the platform according to a recent investigation by the New York Times. Oh, that's alright though. Yesterday, according to Eliza, like 400,000 different profiles have been banned for that. So clearly the New York Times just needs to catch up, right? It's not like she's just trying to grift on top of that in order to, elicit some sort of a response. It's just, hey man, she does good work, right? Eliza Bleu, trying to get some of that Elon Musk funding, even publicly messaging her Cash App. Yo, that's real sad, and you just love, and once again, shout out to Tug for doing great stuff when it comes to this. Finding an old screenshot, damn Elon Musk, where's my check? Cash App, Eliza Bleu, I accept Bitcoin, me and my bestie swimming in Elon Cash. Why do you think that she's attached herself so deeply to what Twitter has done? Oh, Twitter's doing good work. Well, it's barely done and it's hardly complete, but they've done good work, guys, right? So being smart about this, and hey, she is an expert marketer. She is an expert networker, and all of those skills have been put on display. And knowing that this isn't just a one-horse race, there are multiple different avenues to get a bunch of different exposure. She has attached herself to Elon Musk, very well documented, and then also recently, I don't know how, I don't know why. Probably has something to do with his inability to be good with women in general. It's one of those things, man. We know Tim Pool has a lot of money. He is incredibly successful. I won't take that away from him. I just don't think that he's very good at his job. And he was one of the major inspirations behind me starting this channel because I've seen what he was doing, listening to his tired stories over and over and over again, not really innovating any of his content. Continuing to try to say, well, if the right just sat down with the left at a bar, and if the left was a bar across the street, and the right was another. If I had to hear that one more time, I would actually Antifa myself. But even though my personal feelings and thoughts of him aside, you can't doubt, you can check every conceivable metric. The man has millions of views a month. He is wildly successful. It just once again backs up another old axiom. Money does not make the man. Money is simply an amplifier. If you give a dork money, he's just going to be a rich dork. If you give a real G some money, he's going to be a G with money. And that's the thing about Tim Pool. He's a dork. He's a very popular dork. He's a very successful dork, but he's a dork nonetheless. That would be the only explanation why are you running cover for this used up old jalopy? Like, this scallywag out here is despicable. And you're sending your boy Shane Cashman, who's been pictured simping for this 42-year-old nothing. What is going on here, folks? I haven't read anything. And according to Eliza, I haven't read this article at all. It's just part one in a many-part series. It's funny. And I think shout out to the quartering one more time. The big homie, Jeremy, talking about, oh, Tim Pool was really critical about the Twitter files being drip-fed, but you have no problem keeping people's attention when it comes to dropping Eliza Bleu story. Really funny how you just kind of have a forward-facing persona and one that you keep in reserve. Some people say that is good business acumen. Other people would just call it exactly what it is, being two-faced. But I'm not here to judge that. We're here to judge Eliza and the quality of journalism that they have over there at Timcast. So, don't know how long this is. I can tell by the scroll bar we might be here for a second, but I'm here for every single word of it. And like it says, part one of a multi-part series. And guess what? I'm going to be here for all of it because I want to see. Because we know what the Daily Beast did. Daily Beast talked with a couple of different former cohorts of Eliza: Morthland, Seeps, Cuts, Blue, Cars, Trucks, Farms, Trees, Chicago, Knows. Who even cares what she wants to call herself at this point in time? All we know is what she's alleging, what she has done, and who she's in bed with. She's a grifter from the outside, but you don't know her personally the same way that Cashman and Poole does. So maybe they have a certain insight that the callous Daily Beast wasn't quite privy to. You know, sitting down with somebody and having her just belch out her story. I'm sure you're going to be very critical about it. Eliza Bleu and the perpetual trauma machine, bruh. It already makes me want to die inside. On January 4th, 2023. Oh, interesting. Members of the Science and Security Board pulled back a black hood off at the Doomsday. What is going on? The spectacle looked like something. ISIS recording themselves. Hack off a head on... What are we doing here? Bro, is this like... Anybody copy edit this? This is wild. Okay, so you got the Doomsday Clock. It's all theater. It's all show. Maybe that's actually an apt analogy. Eliza Bleu, a lot of bluster, a lot of smoke, but really, at the end of the day, substance void. I was thinking about all this doom when Eliza Bleu called me on the same day those scientists pushed the hands of the symbolic clock closer to midnight. Okay, whatever. The only time I want to hear about a doomsday clock is when Iron Maiden's talking about it and Bruce Dickinson's screaming about 2 minutes to it. So I guess this is where they're going to get a tie-in. She had been trending on Twitter. Yeah, because she's been trying to squelch dissenting opinion. Okay, somebody found her past and realized that, oh, you said that you were being trafficked during this time, but World Star Hip Hop begs to differ, and instead of elaborating, it's like, yeah, that's about my past, but now I'm doing good stuff, guys. She just decided to exercise some of her connections at Twitter and then just started having people pop off everywhere. So here's her side of the story. Eliza and the Doomsday Clock don't really have anything in common. Well, clock sounds like something that she's used to climb through the ranks of different organizations, but outside of that, can't really think of anything. Don't really have anything to do with each other, but they were symbolically connected in my mind. Oh my god, this dude is a turbo simp. The end of the world is always upon us. Oh, bro, does Tim only hire people that speak in wartime metaphors? Oh, literally everything is Doomsday Clock. Literally everything is Civil War. Bruh. These days, I can feel like merch. Our own personal destruction is the end of the world. What? And other days, the end of the world is some distant thought that has nothing to do with us and at this moment. And she was trending on Twitter for accusations of lying about being trafficked. Accusations, and then in the subsequent days, it's also been proven that there is at least some inconsistencies. At worst, she's an outright liar. I tend to lean to the latter, but no, you got to sit down for this multi-part expose, which I'm sure is going to shed some much-needed light that she couldn't provide on her own Twitter feed. Whatever, man. But at the moment, she was trending on Twitter for accusations of lying about being trafficked and censored critics with help of Elon Musk. Well, and also filing policy strikes to World Star Hip Hop, getting those videos taken down off of YouTube, and then 20 plus other content creators. I'm just saying, I'm just wondering, man. But see the way that they hinge on this? And I thought that Tim Pool was all about independent, honest journalism. You're doing the same tactics. You're just trying to latch one concept onto something that is categorically false and try to discredit something by association. She was censoring critics. Like, is that really in dispute? But, she doesn't know Elon Musk personally. See, she said that. So therefore, all of your claims, all of your accusations rendered false because of that one little aspect. You can't prove it, bro. Kind of feels like this was a personal doomsday scenario for Eliza. Are you sure? Are we going to get to the bottom of this and realize that this is paid for by friends of Eliza Bleu? Holy. In the past few months, I've had this strange opportunity to speak with people in the exact moment when they were trending on Twitter. Imagine wrapping your life around social media. That must suck. Especially people that trend on Twitter. Like, what's trending right now? I don't even know. Okay, boycott Disney, pure evil, all lies, and Turkish. Great. Alongside an NHL game? I got to talk to NHL. Ugh. Trends typically bring about waves of hate and posturing and ruthless criticism. I guess so, but I'd imagine that it's probably just a bunch of, Ducks and Stars fan and pure evil. Don't know, don't care either whether I was talking to Ye, Carrie Lake, or Eliza Bleu. Oh, you just go ahead and lump them all into the same category. It was surprising to me that despite the doom attached to their names, especially in the digital space, each of them remained oddly hopeful. Yeah, Carrie Lake's pretty great. Kanye West is quite possibly the most misunderstood man on the internet, and Eliza Bleu's your run-of-the-mill 304. They don't really have that much in common, but alright. I couldn't tell if it was a part of faith. Oh my god, wrap yourself in the God pill. God! Or part of trying to convince themselves everything was okay, or a bit of both. Blue gained notoriety over the last 3 years as a public advocate for survivors of human trafficking. Hasn't really provided receipts for anything that she's done, but hey man, it was the easiest grift at the time, and it's one of those positions that's... If you take the other side of the argument, you're just immediately the bad guy in everybody's eyes. Nobody's pro-human trafficking except for Mexican cartels. Outside of that, man. It's like being an anti-water advocate. It's like, not all people need water. It's like, okay, we understand. It's just, bro, you picked you went down to place a bet at a race at a public school, and you bet on the gym teacher to win. It's not that stunning and brave to take the most safe position on everything. No, she has also said that she is a survivor of trafficking herself. That's where her story falls apart. Then also saying that I do good work and then not providing any receipts of doing said good work. You come across as a touch disingenuous and has been the subject of many articles. Not really. Prior to the Daily Beast article, nobody was really talking about her at all. A lot of videos, though. As well as a guest on a number of podcasts where she has discussed in part her survival story. Actually, no, whenever she's pressed about it, she'll just give some sort of, deflecting answer or just spurg out behind the scenes. And what she believes needs to be done to help those who might also be trafficked. Her profile exploded when Eliza and Elon Musk did a Twitter Spaces. Oh, is that what you call it? Oh, no, right, that's that little voice chat thing that they have. According to her, this was the first time Elon spoke to her directly. You're going to take her word for it? You're going to take somebody whose authenticity and honesty is being put into question? All right. She had also emailed him solutions to the platform, and she told me she offered for no charge. If you were actually a good journalist, you would corroborate those stories and provide evidence of that, but I won't hold that against you. She says that Elon also didn't ask for the solutions, she just sent them. So he was applying for a job and he just looked at that and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Before they interacted over her tweet about Yoel Roth, Elon also liked some of her tweets. Oh my god, he got one of those mythical likes. Yo, imagine having Twitter as your mental point of origin. Just stop it. Before her story was put into question, Blue seemed like one of those rare people on Twitter. Are you kidding? Are we going down this direction? All right. Around whom various political factions could rally. Unless you could see it as, just some very savvy people could, as just being believe all women for the right and not exactly buying the grift. It's something that I talked about well before any of this stuff popped off. But hey, man, you can go check that out for yourself. It was hard to argue against what she was most vocal about. Yeah, it's almost like that was by design, saving people from the perils of human trafficking, removing child porn from Twitter, and seeking to work with big tech to eliminate the ways in which traffickers exploit victims through the internet. It was easy and a righteous cause to support. Yeah, she supported it and then started to grift off of it and never did anything about it. Oh, I tracked all of those I tracked every single one of those platforms or profiles that was trafficking material. No, you didn't. You just searched a bunch of the hashtags. You didn't do anything. One of her most popular tweets, wow, I can't believe we're reading an entire article about Twitter, which was pinned to her profile. Showcased the maddening nightmare of a person who couldn't get Twitter to take down underage pornographic images that circulated the platform. Everybody did a video on that. That raised a lot of profile. She just made a tweet about it, and she's the star. Oh my God. I did a video. It was, I went and ran back the numbers. It was January of 2021. A lot of people covered that. I'd imagine Tim probably covered it at the time as well. It says, yeah, reminder, I don't care, bro. Okay, the video had over 160k views, 2,000 retweets, and it was continued to be on there. It had to go up to the courts in order for it to be taken down because Twitter reviewed it and blah, 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 said it didn't violate their own platform. And what did you do? You retweeted an article. What did you actually do to help take that tweet down? Nothing. Nothing. And your profile, your account wasn't even hitting like that way back in the day. If you would have did something in order to facilitate the removal of that tweet, that would be different. But you didn't. You just tried to grift over it. But by the time she was trending, as the doomsday clock ticked forward, bro, what are you doing? It was because people who initially championed her were now calling out what they believed to be outright lies in her survivor story. Well, if the shoe fits, they feared she'd not only lie, but she was promoting off of other victims. That is the truest thing that has been written there so far. If you Google her name, story of the publication, you'll see many articles putting her life story in question, from post-millennial to unheard to the Daily Beast. The only one that I've seen, and I've done multiple searches on her name, regrettably, unfortunately, rip my search history, is Daily Beast, and then Yahoo reprinting it, MSN just doing all their little different gimmicks, their reposts that are out there, but don't know anything about the unheard story. The post-millennial one, you know, they're just kind of becoming tradcon nonsense. It used to be my go-to place for anything goofy that's happening in Canada, but it's just all, what is Tim Pool doing lately? It's just kind of fallen downhill in my estimation. Anyways, there had been a thread making the rounds on Twitter that broke all these inconsistencies in her timeline. Yeah, and then she got that profile deleted. Weird. Manuel DeFranco. We went through that one as well. The thread was so damaging, it even called into question her own age. Yeah, by saying that in 2006 she was 17, but then she was also in that same year appearing on the reality show Blind Date, saying that she was 21 at the time. Yeah, it's just, you know, little inconsistencies, but that's all right. You don't need to fill in any of that stuff. It's very damaging. And users were enraged that they had helped to give Eliza a platform, only to find out that she seemingly made up her whole story. No, we could kind of glean that when she started to be an advocate for the survivors of Andrew Tate. Top G up, bottom E down. These accusations reminded me of, oh my God, is this guy going to write anything substantive? Or is this just going to be, well, I reminds me of a time. This is like Family Guy, the article. It just reminds me of a time the chicken, like, bro, reminds me of Don Draper from Mad Men. A story of stolen valor. Yes, a weak soldier steals the identity of another soldier who'd actually... Yeah, that's what stolen valor is. Glad that you clarified that, but not the inconsistencies in her timeline. Really good journalism right there. I hope Tim pays you a lot, but knowing that stingy little dink, probably not. She'd been pointed to a long list of aliases that she had used over the years. Eliza Cuts, Seep, Knows. Even spelled Seep wrong, but that's alright. You're just a journalist. You're a professional journalist. Her legal name is Eliza Morthland. Verified, even though that she said that it wasn't. So, hey man, don't worry about it. At face value, her identity seemed like a constant mutation. Yeah, because she just tried to get along wherever she could get along. Internet sleuths found all the times that she'd be on TV or in music videos or in modeling campaigns, when she was being trafficked, calling into question her timeline of having been a victim of trafficking. She's done all these shows. Many Twitter users said that she had only been in it for the fame. Oh, been in it for fame. Seems like it. Everything seemed like a lie. The initial thread culminated in the internet scouring the internet for as much. The initial thread culminated in the internet scouring the internet. This guy gets paid to write this. For as much information as possible to prove that she was in fact a fraud. Yeah, it didn't really take all that much. Larger accounts shared these images from the video. Her bare ass. Pause. It was not. She was in a leotard in every single video. At least bathing suits and others. It was never her bare ass. Bro, you lie. You are a categorical liar. First, you were just being, flippant with your explanations. But this is a lie. It's 1000% a lie. Whatever, man. I knew this was going to be bad. I just didn't think that they would just lie. But all right. And some questions regarding the validity of Eliza's story. Some questions. You continue to reassert that, but you never elaborated. Here are some of the most common questions asked. They tagged Eliza and waited for a response. It seemed like everyone was waiting. No, they were just, the people who were sleuthing were continuing to sleuth and being like, oh, here's an inconsistency. Here's another one. You seen this video? Oh, check out this. Oh, he says that she was trafficked from WorldStar, but WorldStar said that no, she was paid. She was actually hitting us up. Oh, yeah, and here's another interview corroborating all this stuff. It's just kind of wild, but you don't want to explain any of that, of course. The initial response from the larger accounts were suspended, but the initial response was that those larger accounts were suspended. For what? For what exactly? Posting bare ass pictures? Interesting. The narrative switched from has Eliza been lying this whole time to is she using her contacts within Twitter to censor critics? Both questions, both narratives can be running concurrently if they're both valid. She has been lying this whole time, and it really does seem like she was using her connections, Elon Musk and Ella Irwin. But hey, man, you don't need to elaborate any of this stuff. Eliza said that she would die on the hill of free speech. Interesting. Yet a move like this seems like it was not only clean censorship, but a more sinister insight into how Twitter 2.0, with Elon at the helm, was operating in the same bad faith with favors for friends, was Elon dishing out personal help to help keep certain names clean. If she was behind the suspensions, then it was outright. Oh, then she was an outright hypocrite. A lot of us were worried how sharing something in a digital public square, something that seemed publicly available, that could result in a suspension and or ban. Multiple times over, different images, different claims. Just wondering. An anti-establishment minded on Twitter, had been reluctantly rejoicing as Elon acquired the platform and has now had flashback to what Jack Dorsey's Twitter felt like merch. Another digital landscape monopolized by the tech elites who ruled subjectively. The only time that you get on a narrative flow, my guy, is when you're not discussing Eliza Bleu. It's very interesting. For the record, I also don't agree with Musk's ban of people like Ye and Alex Jones. Okay, but then by extrapolation right there, you seem to be on the side of banning Brittany Venti, The Quartering, Camelot, Yellow Flash, and all those other people that you aren't mentioning by name at all whatsoever. I find their lack of names disturbing. I believe they should all be allowed back immediately. Thanks for just reaffirming how good of a person you are. Just like Eliza, I stand up against human trafficking. Very good. You go, queen. Almost as soon as the bans happened, the rumor started to spread, and it was, oh, she must be sleeping with Elon. No, she's in Chicago. He's in the southern United States, bouncing between Austin and San Francisco. The logistics don't really work out. Plus, if you were going to get anybody flued out, would you really go for a 41-year-old? Oof. Oh, she was a secret shadow agent inside Twitter, dictating the terms of service to her own benefit. No, just exercising her contacts, because you can do that with a type or the stroke of a key on a keyboard, something that you're not exactly all that proficient at, because, yo, did anybody read this before it got published? Oh, Lord. And now I was on the phone with her. Yes, we know. This has all been... Oh my God, I just had to peek how long this is, but oh Lord, we're going to be here for a minute, so strap in, I guess. Unless I just start to read this further, because it's just getting monotonous at this point. So yeah, this is his backstory. What's his, Shane Cashman? Is that his name? Okay. Met Eliza back when she was putting dirt on the Top G's name. I told her live on the show that I was suspicious of the Me Too movement. She's like, nah, this is different because I'm on the right, and don't ask me, I'll get you suspended. Later on in the episode of, Timcast, whatever, Griftcast, Eliza asked me what it would take for the people to believe the survivors, and I said transparency, and she's like, what's that? Before she and I met in person. Our first official interaction happened in a group chat between Ye, Eliza, and myself. Wow, who set that one up? I had just left Ye's place in LA. He had spent a weekend discussing, among other things, his shaping the campaign for the president of the United States. And it's like, good luck. And he's like, I'm going to win. And it's like, yeah, good luck. It was the way that Eliza responded to the initial text from Ye gave me pause to go full tilt, accusing her of operating solely out of fame. Oh, great. So she was talking in a public space with a corroborating witness, and she wasn't acting shady. That she's a good person. So, yeah, Eliza, I got your number from Shane, huh? Let's stop all pornography and sex trafficking, huh? Starting with Twitter, yeah. Actual freedom for all people is the most important fight. Oh yeah, here's good virtuous Eliza. No publicity, no public stunt, by the way. And I'm not going to ask for any funding or anything. Sorry, what was that? I'm not going to ask for any funding or anything. I'm just wondering, man. That's very interesting. I do everything on my own with an old ass phone or iPhone and God. Oh my God. Oh, this is telltale signs of a chameleon, bro. It was discussed on Timcast IRL. I write a profile on her. The Twitter user started responding to my tweets. Yo, bro, just write this in your journal the next time. A small collection of some of the criticism I received. I prepared a profile for Eliza. The mistest for Shane Cashman, knob-gobbling fluffer. Well, this really seems like it so far. Oh, it reminds me of this time where I was staring at the Doomsday Clock. And do you guys remember Watchmen? Zack Snyder directed that one. It was like 3 hours long, but then the director cut came out. And then I remember taking my girlfriend there, and we were together for like 2 years, but then we broke it off, and that's all right. And then after that, I just decided to pick up a pen. It's all nonsense. Make some claims. Clear some stuff up. No, she talked with Ye once and she was nice. I believe her story because I'm a good person. So is she, because she's against human trafficking. Now I feel the need to share. Instead of feeling, why don't you know? If you don't know anything, don't write about it. Pretty simple. The need to share another private conversation because, bro, this is PR. This is not hard-hitting journalism. Oh, we're just going to come and clean up the journalistic space. Bro, you are hiring a fluffer. This is exactly what this is. Bro. After the threads about Eliza's life went viral, her timeline didn't make sense to me either. Okay, are you going to get into something? Then it seemed like major gaps in her story. I'm sure I wasn't alone in having this nightmarish thought experiment. You know what you should have done? Knowing that that Daily Beast article was going to be coming out, you should have had her tell her side of the story and then compare and contrast the two and see if there's any inconsistencies that are popping up. Just wondering. Or if she has anything that will be a little bit more concrete than the people that are also making those claims in that article as well. You know, hey man, because she could totally 1000% be telling the truth, except for her actions don't really tell that story. But hey, you're the journalist. You have carte blanche to ask her anything that she wants to say about her life. But you're choosing to doing it you're choosing to report your facts this way. Huh. I don't believe it should erase the advocacy I've seen her do on Twitter and in podcasts. Oh, right. Yeah, no, she's a liar, but she does good work. Yo, these NPC response are, it's wild. But again, the current economy deals in the currency of victimhood, and we're all numb to the grift. So you're running cover for one of the most obvious and blatant examples. Okay, just as Blaire White points out, Jussie Smollett of the right sounds very, very apt. Either Eliza's built an elaborate story for profit. Bro, it's taken you half the article to just once again summarize your summary at the beginning. Oh, maybe, man, maybe. I'm glad to have ad blocker turned off. I don't know if this is, on, sorry. Or maybe you just had a word floor that you needed to meet because holy crap, how many times do I have to hear, we don't know about Eliza's story? Well, if you don't know, don't write about it. Or instead of this being a multi-part series, just consolidate all the facts together and report that. That would be easier. Eliza picked me up in her father's car. I don't care. Her very rich father who backrolled and supported her through everything. That guy, great. World's largest truck stop. I don't care. It was 7 degrees. Oh my God, it's so nice. She was looking at her phone, reading an email. Babylon Bee notified her that they canceled an event that they had planned to do together. Oh my God, Babylon Bee supporting cancel culture. That's just so bad. It's heartbreaking, she said. I need my Christian brothers. I'm so pissed that they would cancel. I wonder what the Babylon Bee has to say about this. I'd imagine that, oh, given her previous history, that's probably a lie. But hey, man, the Babylon Bee is also heavily supporting Ron DeSantis right now while running anti-Trump propaganda. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild how all of these little divisions are getting sowed at the moment. It's just, hey, man, color me an outside observer at this point in time. There was a mostly small talk on the way to get food. Are we gonna? It's like, bro, okay, cool. You guys had a road trip. Did she suck it for a second or what? Forced fraud or coercion, sell of box. Anyone under the age of 18, any whatever, dude. Oh my god. How did the trafficking start with you? I met him when I was 15, she said. Where at a concert out here. Yeah, My Chemical Romance. This alleged photographer. Even though your friend at that concert also said that you were more than ready, willing, and able, and you were also in your 20s at the time. I thought that's what was going on, but very interesting. A photographer. Oh, who was he? A photographer. There we go. Can you name him? I can't. Why? Legal reasons. No. There's no legal reasons at all whatsoever. I'm going to come back to that. I said the names and times, blah, blah, blah. I knew she wasn't going to name names. She said as much to me back on IRL because there's no names to name. Just stop it. You press on that, and if she spurgs out on that, Oh, man. Okay, I insisted multiple times that naming names would be one of the best ways to clear her. It would allow me and other journalists to do more digging into her story. The lack of a name and transparency. Oh, his name was Ted Nikon. Yeah, no, he's a real bad journalist alongside his friend Eric Sony. Very awful people. Why did you leave LA? I once had a permit when I was out there. It was funny. I didn't want to stay out there. That's all nice. Yeah, and then you eventually got trafficked back to Chicago where you stayed in a comfy suburb. But I had to stay and I had to sleep on the floor to dodge gunshots. Bro, just because you like engaging in the hood life from afar doesn't mean that you have to make up a backstory that you lived it. It's just, oh my god. I was going to read this line by line, but this is just so asinine. This is just a boring dinner date. Eliza said she moved to LA when she was 17. Her parents set her up with an apartment, and within 2 days she was trafficked. Her parents, living in Chicago, suburb of Chicago, remember, he's a House representative for the state of Illinois at this point, set her up with a house in Los Angeles at the age of 17. She was born in 81, so that would put it at, what, 99? 98, 99, somewhere in that area. It's not like LA has ever been known to be the safest area, and especially for a 17-year-old? Interesting. But then you got trafficked within 2 days. Can you elaborate on that? No, legal reasons. This is where I guess some of the story gets messed up. Is there a switch in the guy at this moment? The photographer introduces me to musician. Are you going to name My Chemical Romance in this one at all whatsoever? I don't see any of that that's on there. West Hollywood we're talking about immediately within a few days, 48 hours. Yeah, that's all wonderful. I remember what you were thinking at the moment. My dreams were coming true. Oh my god, I felt like, did you feel any sense of dread being away from your family, being with these people? I went to a dream world, she said. Up until this point, I don't even know that evil was a thing that happened. Yeah, but I thought you were trafficked when you were 15, but then at 17, you were also trafficked as well. And then you continued to be trafficked up until 2014, 16. You were definitely out by that time. At which point you were still modeling and escorting for G-Girls. Are we getting that straight? No? Okay, that's probably in another one of those parts. Because, we got artistic shots of a barn and snow in the background. She's wearing a hoodie and won't look at you directly because she's got those crazy eyes, and it would kind of discredit the rest of your story, even though this is nauseating to begin with. Are you considered this a relationship? Yo, this is just girl talk about banging a lead singer of a band, okay? You're a groupie. You weren't that special. Sorry to tell you, sweetheart. Were you on drugs? Cool, we might actually get a cool drug story. Yes, thank God. It was not a pleasant experience. It was scary. I didn't know what particularly happened. I didn't think it... I started to kick a little bit to think of the problem. I wasn't eating. I wasn't drinking. Even though your friends that went to go meet with you in your nice, comfy apartment said that you were in really good shape. But hey, man, I'm sure you don't have any pictures of this at all to corroborate it or anything. And that saved my life. That happens sometimes with victims. Oh, okay, cool. So again, instead of just describing your situation, then you just try to peel it back out and then just give generalities. That's normally the sign of people who are definitely telling the truth. 1000%. I was left for dead. No, I thought you were still being trafficked, but I survived. I'm a survivor, and that's why now I'm a survivor advocate. I thought it was my fault. I woke up in Cedars-Sinai. That's not exactly a cheap place to be, but all right. No friends out there. The nurse treating me told me she treated Kurt Cobain. Oh my God, she's the Forrest Gump of being trafficked. Oh my God. And I have the same eyes. Oh, I got a nice toe trigger shotgun joke, but that's all right. He died a few years earlier. Just a few, huh? See, if Lane Staley's name was a little bit more well-known, or at least on the same level as Kurt Cobain, that could have been really good to piggyback off of your drug overdose story. But hey, man, Kurt Cobain, yeah, that makes sense. Even though, didn't he die in Seattle? I don't care, man. No, druggies gonna be druggies, and they're just gonna continue to lie. The moment eventually would keep me sober. Yeah, I'm sure, whatever, man. Even though, your other friends in the other story would go ahead and discredit any of that, but you do you, right? People that really hate you are demanding those details. Yeah, just some of them. Any of them. It's like gore porn. What? Eliza said, referring to the gruesome details that many are saying they need to hear in order to believe a trafficking took place. No. Don't need all of the details. Just need some of the details. Names, places, what you were doing, who you were blowing. That would be nice. Did you give up the back door? Length for girth? Anything like that, What's your body count? Anything. We get something concrete here, because this is a puff piece. They were hitting me up, wanting to know if my vagina was ripped. Yeah, okay, whatever. It was a funny story. Truth or dare? Yo, your box been punctured. No? Okay. Part of me hopes you were lying because, oh my God, I want none of this to be true. Oh, you're supposed to be a journalist. So do you remember anything leading up to or after the overdose? No, it's just so crazy. I was in a musician's house. And of course, you'll say musicians because you can just think of all of the musicians that have passed away from an overdose. And I was just about 27, and I was thinking about all the famous musicians like Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison and Bon Scott who passed away at 27. I thought, geez, that would be just like me because I wanted to sing someday. Oh, later she tried to, thanks the buyer, dyed her hair black and made her look like a boy. Bro, what are you even doing? Oh, I was just so drugged up and just passed through just life, and people were just dyeing my hair. That's a multi-hour process. Oh, you think people are this stupid where they're just going to unobjectively buy this? Yo, you can't see it, but just off screen on just the little bar that's on the side, you got your different channels. This is on Tim's website, and he's been staring at me this entire time. Not him personally. I don't know him, and I'm never going to meet him, okay? He just seems like a trash person. I just looked over there and seen it, and was like, I'm embarrassed for you for putting this up. This is really bad. Like, really bad. This is fan fiction tier writing. Oh, I've seen Hivy on here. One time, that was also the time when HIV was still making the rounds pretty heavily. So like between the 1980s and today, is that what we're doing? But during that time, it was a big concern, the fact that I survived and didn't come out with AIDS. I cannot believe it. So does that mean you got herpes, or does it burn when you pee? You got the landing strip, or is it a wood floor? Like, what are we talking about here? Not that I care, because there's probably too many gray hairs in there for me to care at this point in time. But like I said, man, this is a long article, and everything... It's just transcribing a conversation. You should have just recorded it. To the man in LA who sold you got in trouble. I don't know, she said. I haven't looked. I'm a survivor advocate. Okay, so you're supposed to provide support for advocates and hope that they can seek justice some way. But the person that allegedly trafficked you, you don't know if they were ever brought to justice. If this is supposed to be some sort of a empathetic endeavor and you don't have any previous life experience to back any of these claims up, I'm about done with this. This is really bad, bro. Really, really bad. The problem sometimes is you think you let it fester, you start drinking, doing drugs, getting into abusive relationships. No, I thought that you were sober now going forward. And her first, oh my God, now we got this Amanda lady. I don't know, man. Okay. Eliza came to me during the pandemic with serious worries about the abuse and trafficking. Yeah, because she couldn't go around and dance for money on the internet anymore, and she had to turn herself to a new grift, realizing that 40 clock was ticking a little too loud for her. So now she had to pivot from getting attention because the younger girls, because guess what? There's an 18-year-old born every day with better tits and a nicer ass and a lot less headache. So you got aged out of the market. So what could you do now? Can't really market my sexuality anymore. So what am I going to do? Oh, just try to pick up the ladder and drag it up behind me and make sure that nobody else has to be trafficked anymore, because that's an easy grift to pivot to. Her concerns always with others Oh, her concern was always with others. Doubtful now because she runs a lot of defense for herself. But no, that's just a new thing that's out there. She had so much knowledge about how to address this vital issue, otherwise largely ignored. No, it's pretty well. There are multiple government agencies, but if you're talking about Twitter, maybe she just found an easy grift. I asked her to include her name and photo because I thought it would bring more attention to the issue, and it did. Yeah, some reasonably attractive girl with piercing blue eyes. Wow, it got attention after she put her name and her face out there. Woo! Color me surprised. And yo, peek this. I just about missed this for a second. Her first appearance publicly was a survivor of human trafficking and as an advocate for survivors was through an article in a Daily Wire by Amanda, whatever, man. Daily Wire. Tim Pool. I don't do drama except for when it's Steven Crowder Daily Wire stuff. Continues to have Daily Wire people on. Makes a lot of sense, huh? Makes a lot of sense. Connects a bunch of dots. But anyways, yeah, no, this Eliza lady, this Eliza, we know she's a grifter, but this Amanda chick, doing good work out here. Even still, okay, so this is back to Shane asking some questions. Okay, I asked her about the accusation that everything she has done has been purely for fame. Ooh, I've literally told everyone that from day one. Oh, shaming language. There we go. Actually, no, that's more guilt. Trying to guilt anybody into discrediting me. I've been congruent in my stories, okay? I've told everybody since day one that I want to be famous. My parents knew that when I was a little girl. She said that she's already seen levels of fame I refer to the past. Doing hair and makeup with bands such as My Chemical Romance and covers for Spin magazine. Something we will get into later in the conversation. Probably not in this. Oh, there you go. Cliffhanger. I believe she was referencing her relationship with Gerard Way. Yes, the singer of My Chemical Romance actually gets into that. Oh my god. Oh, hilarious. When I became a survivor advocate, I had a fully popping Instagram. Yeah, no, the Eliza Bleu one's down, but guess what? Your boy found her back up. Anyways, like that. Was just sitting there once I got back in control of it. Yeah, of course. It was probably being trafficked or something like that, of course. Oh my god. If you want to read the stuff, obviously I'm going to be linking this. I could think of better things to do with my life. Count how many stipples are on my roof. Trim the individual fibers on the carpet. Make sure all of my fingernails are perfectly long by either shortening them or lengthening them with a file or tweezers. Anything would be less painful than this. This is atrocious. This is really, really bad. We drove past her house. It was midnight, and she's like, well, normally whenever a guy drives me home after midnight, we just both go inside, but I see that you don't have the requisite $500. She pointed to her car that was in the snow. She said it was broken down. I'll see, she needs all of your help. That's why she's eliciting those Elon bucks, right? Anyways, I wouldn't be surprised if they come to my house while you're here, she said. But the way the laws are here, I can't loiter. A hint that her dad has his own ways to keep the property secure. My dad won't even listen to my nonsense anymore. I had arranged to talk with her parents in the morning. You wanted to hear their side of everything Eliza told me that night. Eliza drove up the long, narrow county road back to her house. Oh my god, this is so sad. Even still, Twitter was much present for vests and cold fields in nowhere, Illinois, although the internet is still in Advil, satellite orbiting, close space, monitoring my every move. Yo. I'd be embarrassed if I was Tim at this point. Eliza's gonna grift. Shane seems like an uber simp, and Tim... Yo, man, if you have any editorial jurisdiction over this, just cut this short, man. Just don't ever address this stuff ever again, man. Yo, just pay it absolutely no mind and, just chalk up this L because this is atrocious. I want to see what some of these comments are because we got 50 of them right now. This is a con artist. This is a long-winded puff piece. Come on, Tim. You said the segment that sometimes a mob can bring accountability when nothing else is done, like calling out the unpunished bank robber for robbing banks, and this will continue. Also, Jeremy shouldn't have flaked, but you blocking him speaks volumes. Fair enough. Eliza has one of the most fanciful lies/stories I've ever heard. Yo, I did a quick page search for the words Venti, Jeremy, Britt, and Quarter, but none of them showed up. That's 1,000% true. Didn't hear anything about World Star Hip Hop either. Doesn't resolve anything. Shane's atomic hubris is a chore to get through. Yo, man, yeah, him just making these weird asides on my doomsday clock. And then I also thought about the time that my mom cooked cobbler, and it was so nice. It was... I was like, yo, is this a cutscene from Shawshank Redemption? And I should be reading this in a Morgan Freeman voice. It's just, yo, man. I said I'm going to be doing the rest of the parts, and I'm a man of my word. So, I don't know. Is he going to drip feed us this nonsense every single day? I'll be back tomorrow talking about it, unless, of course, we get some reprieve for a moment, and then it's just, pure Eliza hubris, because I would take that over this Shane nonsense. Yo, man, that was so bad, but if you stuck around that long, thank you very much, and definitely for the support yesterday. And then, hey, man, if there's any support today, especially if you're seeing it this long, I thank you very, very much. I don't ask. I don't grift for anything, man. This is just my raw, unadulterated thoughts, and I'll tell you, man, if I had any respect for Tim Pool going forward, man, Lord have mercy, that's been genocide. That's been thrown off the side of the destitute Illinois State Road. Probably landed somewhere between that pole and that pole. Some little beanie bedecked 5'6" corpse. Sucks to suck, I guess. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.